everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. This is a very special video on my channel. This is a video in collaboration with my buddy LisaJMakeup here on YouTube. She is absolutely wonderful. You've heard me mention her before on my channel probably. If you haven't found her yet, she's a real gem here on YouTube. I feel like her videos are so educational, very sincere, very genuine. She's worked with MAC in the past as a trainer, and I feel like when you watch her videos, you'll see she's got a real all-encompassing knowledge of makeup that I think really benefits people of all ages. She's super pretty, she's from Texas, she's got 2 girls, but above all else, honestly, she's kind. She's a truly kind person, and that means more to me than anything. And she's been so supportive of my channel. I hope if you haven't checked her out yet, you'll go find her, click subscribe, say hello. I'm sure she has a great tutorial in store for you. The way we kind of decided to approach the soft glam palette from Anastasia here is to kind of each take on 2 different color schemes, because as you glance at this, there might be a couple different things that stand out to you. Maybe it's the rosy tones in it, or maybe it's the golden shades. And so she's going to do more of a rosy look, and I went with something very golden, and it turned out very dramatic as well. But I hope you guys like it, and we just thought this would be a nice way for people to get sort of the full picture of the palette within our 2 separate videos. So thank you so much, Lisa, for doing this with me. Thank you for being just a positive, wonderful, just genuine makeup loving presence here on YouTube. I really appreciate that, and just so excited to kind of do this video with her from afar. So hi, Lisa. Anyway, let's talk about the palette a little bit more. It's soft glam. The palette is actually soft, kind of that velvety feel to the outside, same size and shape as you may have seen in a lot of different Anastasia palettes. It's got the mirror there. It's also got the nice little double-ended brush. But looking at the shades, I mean, this just screams wearable to me. You know, you've got so many mattes, you've got a variety of tones here, although I feel like it goes pretty heavy on warm, especially as you look at these mattes here in the center. There are some really goldeny pops. This shade is very golden, the bronze up here. Dusty Rose is a nice cool option here, and then you have these other rosy shades like Rose Pink and Sultry. Mulberry is fantastic. That's one of those dark kind of red wine shades that's really right up my alley. Super excited to see what Lisa does for a rosy look from this palette. But it's certainly neutral with variety. I think the quality here is very consistent, whether you're dealing with a shimmery shade or a matte shade or a shade like Tempera, which is just a barely there shimmer. You know, it works so effectively on the eyes. And I've heard it mentioned, I can't remember where, maybe it was from an Anastasia Beverly Hills account somewhere, Instagram, Twitter, I don't know, that this is the same formula from Modern Renaissance. So if you loved the way those shadows felt and applied, you'll probably enjoy this as well. There are some shades, like I use quite a bit of burnt orange in my look today, and I felt like, you know, you tap into it, you will see some kind of powdery fallout. That doesn't scare me, never has. Just build up your shadow little by little, tap off the excess. If you see a little excess there, you can go back and use it and work it into your look, you know. A little powderiness in a shadow is really not a deal breaker for me. In fact, I want it to be soft enough to transfer onto my lids in a pigmented way instead of having to build it up or scrub into a shadow. Another thing I'd like to point out is with Sultry and Bronze. I've used both of those shades on different occasions, Bronze especially in the look that I did today, and I felt like it was very easy to control, and it didn't take any real special instruction to use. You know, you just pick up a little bit on your brush, just kind of pat it on, build it up to as much intensity as you want, and I think it looks absolutely beautiful, and it wasn't hard. And it was just an all-around really nice quality shimmery shadow. I've mentioned from some brands I feel like we're almost regressing a little bit in the quality of shimmers. Like brands are making them very creamy in some cases, like they'll swatch beautifully, but they'll be tricky to apply. I don't feel like there was any trick to anything really in this palette. Now when palettes come out, I mean, uniqueness is a big factor. We look at it and we say, well, where have I seen this before? And these are going to be a lot of shades that you've probably seen before, bits and pieces here and there in different palettes. You know, we've seen golds, we've seen a lot of rosy things, we've seen a lot of warmth lately. If you own a lot of different eyeshadows and palettes, you may be able to recreate a lot of looks that you see various YouTubers create with this, just from other things in your stash, because the shades aren't insanely uncommon. But having this grouping is nice. I do think these colors complement each other really, really well. Lisa's going to be doing a distinctly rosy look. I'm doing something more golden, but then you start blending those tones, like put Bronze and Mulberry together, or fade some of Rose Pink into Fairy. You could do all sorts of cool combinations. But speaking of the look I did today, I want to show you how I did it. We're going to take you step by step, so let's do it. Okay guys, it is eye tutorial time, and I've already got my foundation, powder, concealer, and some bronzer on. on, and then I'll be kind of dressing up the look, adding in some accessory type products like blush and highlight and lips a little later. I'm going to use this burnt orange shade right down here, and it is a nice little, I would call it like a soft warm brown. So even if you don't have this palette, you might find some of these shades you could turn up in your collection different places. I think sometimes with palettes it comes down to convenience factor and liking certain shades and just having them handy all in one palette. A lot of times that's what drives me to pick up and use a certain thing, is just because, okay, I know it's all there, I know all of those colors work together. As I dip my brush into this, I'm getting some powdery sort of, some fallout there. There's some definite softness to these shades. I wouldn't say it goes too far beyond what I experience with like a Lorac shadow, but in these cases, as I've said before, you know, you tap off the excess always, you build up slowly. Now I'm just blending over that with a bare brush here. This is my E40 brush, and I'm going to use a little bit of tempera right up under the brow. I kind of like this shade. It looks matte at a glance, but it actually has just the slightest bit of sheen to it. Next up, I'm going to take some rustic. So that's that pretty brown right here. Pick some of that up with a flat brush. And I'm going to start putting this right here on the center of my lid. You know what song I cannot get out of my head right now, and I don't even mind it? Like, I love this song, and I'm kind of late to the party on this song, but Lights Down Low, Max, I mean, this dude's voice is amazing. I love it so much. That song just like, it haunts me. I heard it in the car like several times we were traveling. I'm like, this is so good. I think before I just caught it on the radio different times, like bits and pieces of it. I'm like, it's kind of a good song, but now I've like got it on my phone. I love it so much, and I watched the music video. And it's one of those things that looks like maybe it was done super low budget style, but it's so good, and I didn't expect to be like crying at the end of it, but I was. So you might be wondering, where the heck is this look going, Emily? Well, I think I know. I'm gonna leave a gap here that's about this big on the inner part, and there's gonna be some overlap happen, but for now, we're gonna transition kind of to the outer part of our eye with deeper and deeper shadows. So we started with rustic, and now I'm gonna use a little cypress umber, and we're gonna put that, and that's the way you need to say that shade, by the way. Now I'm gonna pat this kind of overlapping the last shade and all over the outer part of my lid. 'Cause baby, we're just reckless kids trying to find an island in the floor. Oh, turn the lights down low. You guys are like, girlfriend's using every brown in the palette. Well, it's gonna get boring before it's gonna get exciting here. That's what I'm gonna tell you. We're just laying some groundwork here, y'all. Okay. Also, the brush that comes in here. I have always said this, but I think Anastasia gives great little brushes. This side has a little, like kind of, it's sort of fluffy, but it's more toward a flat brush. And then this side, it's a nice little blended out type brush as well. I like that they've never stopped giving these brushes in the palettes because they're always good brushes. Now you want to go ahead and clean off some of that darkness and matteness from your brush, because we're going to play with bronze, and bronze can be very intense here, very goldeny, and so I'm going to pick some of that up on my brush. What I like about this is that this is an easy to work with high impact shade. Sometimes the more impact a shade gives off, the more like tricks you got to know about it, more careful. I'm tapping off a little bit of excess there, and then I'm going to pat this right here on the inner corner. We're going to go for major impact right here. And this one seems to work well just by patting, repeated patting. And I just kind of want it to look like there's this sort of starburst happening right out of my tear duct and kind of fading onto the rest of my lid. When I'm doing eyeshadow, like, I try to stick with certain methods that I do think are most flattering on my eyes. There's different ways to vary it up some, but for my like eye shape and placement, I just always like keeping it bright on the inner part. Not that you always have to, but I tend to like the look. Now see, I feel like this shade is easy to control. I'm able to really like press it on there. I'm not seeing fallout going everywhere. It's just a very high quality shimmer. And there's a couple in here like that. Sultry is like that from a more like rosy standpoint, and then you got bronze. Next, I want to take Noir because I want to show you guys like how the black performs in here. A lot of people swatch a black and they're like, yeah, it's a good black, or no, it's a bad black, but let's just put it on and show. Because this is a very nice black. The other day I was wearing it actually just very softly as a crease color, you know, which sometimes you just think of reaching for the brown or the more mid-tone or slightly darkish shades. But this black I find to be very blendable. So what I just wanted to do was build up some really concentrated darkness right here on the outer part of the lid, outer corner. And you can see how our warmer brown that was already in the crease is kind of playing nicely with that. I feel it's kind of helping it all work in. And to kind of round things out here, I'm tapping back into Rustic. This is with the brush that was provided. And I'm gonna just be sort of developing that outer part here a bit more. I'm not doing a super stark like outer V, but see how I'm bringing that shadow almost in little circular motions out from the eye slightly. Like we already had some shadow there, but it just kind of helps to finish things off and kind of smooth it over once you've added another dark shade. So again, that's Rustic. And then just a slight bit of the burnt orange kind of here on the inner part of that crease. Now for eyeliner, I'm first going to use my Jordana Color Envy and Black Envy across the upper lash line. I just think this is such a high contrast look, it really calls for some black. I'm going for kind of a medium thickness to this line because I don't want it to be so thick. Oh, and then I just kind of dabbed it in an area I wasn't supposed to. But I don't want to go too thick because I don't want to cover up a lot of our nice effect on the lid, but it needs to be thick enough for some lashes to lay down. Going for just a slight wing there, a light wing. In my lower inner rim, I'm using this Julep One Pencil Matte Gel, which is a nice soft and decently long wearing liner in your waterline, and this is in rich brown. And whenever I do that, I like to also get a little bit on my actual, like in between the lashes, lower lash line area. Then we're going to go back to Cypress Umber, and I'm using a angled brush, a smallish angled brush, E65 from Sigma, and taking it under my wing and also down to about the outer part of my lower lash line. And this will all start to look a little more blended here in a second. The little disclaimer every YouTuber gives so people don't get too scared about things. I'm not sure about the direction this is going. Well, I'm not either. Okay, E21 coming in, nothing on it right now. Just kind of smudging over what's been put there. Like taking any shadow that might be there on the lower lash line and kind of just pulling that inward. And letting it come down a little lower too, actually. Then I'm going to take a little bit softer, lighter gold in this palette called Fairy. And I'm just using this small angle brush. It's like a little synthetic brush from Sigma. But any, you know, angled brush, smudger brush, just generally small brush that you have. See what I'm doing with this? I'm going around that inner corner and I'm kind of pulling it down along the lower lash line. So it's in like the same family as that really intense rich gold on the lid, but just a little softer. So now I'm going to top this off with a little mascara and lashes, and I'll join you with the finished look. Okay guys, finished look here, very dramatic. I know it's the Cocoa lashes in Misha are the ones that I have on, and so they're very like fan straight out. If you want that similar effect, just look for any lash that has a lot of length kind of coming up right from the center. It's very eye-opening, and I kind of like that look when everything's very dark and dramatic as well. Also, one little quick tip that I wanted to point out. As I was doing my lashes, I remembered this little brush called the Instapop Crease Brush from Real Techniques. It looks kind of full at that angle, and then you turn it to the side and you can see it's very like steeply tapered up one side. And I love using this end, the end where there's the most length, and really smoking out eyeshadow. It does a really good job of softening out like your lower lash line. So I did go back in with a little bit of this Rustic shade, just tap straight into it with that brush, and then very softly went across here like under the wing and on this outer part of the lower lash lash line, and I thought that was a really cool effect with the shadow. But as far as what else I'm wearing, I'm trying one of the Bare Minerals Gen Nude blushes. This is Pink Me Up. I just got like a mini one in a little set that I found on Ulta, and it's a super soft blush to the touch, and it's also a very natural shade on the cheeks. And then for a highlight, I'm wearing my Physicians Formula Shimmer Strips in Vegas Strip. So this has kind of a soft goldeny sheen to it that I thought might play off of the eyes well, I don't know. And then on my lips, I'm wearing my Lancome Gloss number 202. It's just a nice casual nude shade. You know, it was all real low maintenance, low fuss with this look. But I did really enjoy this palette. While I am by nature very, very drawn to those rosy shades, and that was definitely the first kind of look I ever did with this palette was with the roses, I think this shows that you can forego those and still get a very fun look, you know, kind of a dramatic take on it. I hope you guys will check out Lisa's channel and see what she did. I have no doubt it will be beautiful, but thank you guys so much for watching my video. To me, I see Soft Glam as a super wearable palette, the kind of thing that most anyone could pick up and find their everyday work look. Find, you know, a way to make this dramatic and kind of a fun night out type palette as well. It's very versatile, it's very approachable. Is it an absolute must-have for everyone? Well, we all know there are a buttload of eyeshadow palettes on the market, and these really aren't the most unique shades ever. Are they wonderful quality? Yes. Are you going to be disappointed if you get your hands on it? I don't think so. But I guess what I'm getting at is if you're really trying to hold back on makeup purchases, I think you could achieve the look I got today by combining maybe some similar shades from other palettes for sure. Again, I think a lot of what it comes back to with palettes is convenience factor and having all of those certain shades all in one. This is the kind of palette that I think is going to appeal to a lot of people, and it was very well done from a quality perspective in my opinion. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to head over to Lisa's channel, and I will see you again next time. Bye!